On with the next article of the day. And this is probably going to be the most serious article of the day I do, and potentially the one thing that could be long lasting after this whole thing goes away. And this is how the virus divorced couples face child access and maintenance issues during the circuit breaker period. Now, this technically, circuit breaker means Singapore, but I have pulled articles of this same topic up in California, in many other countries of all Southeast Asia. But I decided finally to include today's article because I wanted to talk about this topic. As you know, at least in many Western cultures, lawyers will do whatever they can to exploit money or resources out of one party or the other. And if anything, they try to limit men's access or give excuses or whatever. So let's read the article. In Singapore, one divorced father said he was anxious that he would not be able to see his children again. Even after the circuit breaker period ends, his ex-wife has denied him child access during this time. Another divorced father who has lost his job amid the virus outbreak worries that he will not be able to pay the monthly maintenance amount and be taken to court by his ex-wife. Divorced ex-spouses the Spartans Times spoke to, and they said they were facing difficult times during this period. Just as a little background info, no, I have no wife, I have no kids, but, when I learned at a very young age that if I marry a woman, I would have to support her that pay level through my whole life. I, even as like a teenager, was like, well, there's no guarantee for that. There's no guarantee I'll be earning that $50,000 from today till I'm 65 or 80. So to me, that was illogical, and I was not willing to give up my freedom or put myself behind the barrel of a gun to make somebody else happy, because happiness comes within you, not by being with me. So while the Minister of Health guidelines state that access to arrangements are allowed to continue, such as if children take turns to live with either parent, the ministry also said to keep children changes to a minimum where possible to lower the risk of transmission across different households. In particular, for cases when ex-spouses have an acrimonious relationship, sorting out child access and maintenance payments during this period is not clear. So that's a whole other issue, the maintenance payments. You do realize that the U.S. is like 25-30% lost their job. And you know what? When they get a new job, they're going to earn much less. Let's forget that there was 70,000 just in Laos and Thailand, all over the world. So I don't know how these maintenance payments should be worked out, but I do think they should honestly just be 100% abolished, because the family should not be broken up regardless. A family together needs less resources, and it's a better outcome for the child, and the child supersedes the parents. Family lawyer Ryan Charter of Ryan Charter LLP said in normal times, some people would use a bit of a sniffles or sickness to deprive their ex-spouses access to their children. For those who want to default to access order, this is the perfect time. Yeah. Oh my God, Johnny has a runny nose. He might have this disease. Or Johnny came back from your house with a sniffle. You may have got him sick. I'm calling the lawyers on you. Yeah, so we know how this can turn out, and it's not going to be in the child's best favor. Access is a particular problem when we are facing in Singapore, even without the COVID-19 situation. Many ex-spouses, in particular fathers who are usually in this situation since since care and control is usually granted to the mother, are going to end up this month without access or be very unhappy. While I feel sad for the fathers never rally together, they never demonstrate, they never vote. So part of it, their problem is their fault for not asking for anything. Even before the circuit breaker period began, Jimmy was given time with his two kids only on Sundays. But his ex-wife, even though the court had granted him access Saturday overnight till Sunday, but now she has cut off access completely, citing concerns about the family's safety if the children should or shuffle between households. I only have a few precious hours of time with them each week. Now I'm worried that I won't see my kids even after this ends, said Jimmy, who just declined to give details. Now again, like I said, this will probably go. They'll probably implement new rules and regulations that will far last even after vaccines for this virus are implemented. In response, queries of ST, the Family Justice Courts, said parents should communicate with each other through lawyers or work together to find practical and suitable solutions to access issues, bearing in mind the best interest of the children and the need to comply with government measures. The court reminded parents to cooperate with each other and act sensibly and safely in all arrangements made for the children. Yeah, well, this is one interesting thing. Singapore is kind of Western thinking. Like in some Asian countries like Vietnam, they have no family court. If you guys have to deal with it outside the court, the government does not want to, nor do they have time to hear your problems. In a way, it's kind of for the better. If there are no agreements, despite the best efforts, parents can write jointly to the courts with their views or apply for variations or suspension of access orders. The court should be a last resort in partner parenting matters. The law practice family law of Donna Tan said, despite the guidelines, that there were several scenarios where these parents would face a problem. Ex-couples have not already established access orders with the courts, including couples in the midst of divorce proceedings. Maybe they should stop their divorce and stay together. Would have to come to an interim agreement for this period. Those who would have supervised access to the divorce support specialists agencies would also have access to suspend these centers, they're closed during the circuit breaker period. It's kind of funny because we're talking about these divorce lawyers. You know how there's a pandemic going on worldwide, right? Just last week, Japan lawyers offered all couples who are thinking about divorce, like all housewives, because you're living together. They offered all the housewives a free apartment for like the duration of the lockdown to see how they like living solo. And if they like that, they'd come to their office afterwards to file a divorce. So even in Japan, they're actually promoting women to get divorced. So and others are facing problems, including those who have access to arrangements to have been with their ex-spouses to meet the children outside of such cafes, but the cafes are closed. These parents could try to move to video call contact with the potential for more physical access with their children after the circuit breaker ends. Now, I don't know about that because I have read stories about like military men from America. They're overseas and they're doing video calls with their wife back home or their kids back home, and the kids just tune out to these video calls. So I don't recommend video calls. What I would recommend is what he said. People were actually doing like water paints or handwriting letters. They were sending the pictures. They were actually doing more hands-on things versus the video calls, because the video calls, they were not too popular. So anyway, what do you think? Do you think that this virus will set a new trend for women to walk away and make it harder for men and women and children combined? Will people take advantage of the situation and profit off of your misery? Please leave your comments below. And I have one more question for you on top of that. How are you dealing with your court and family visitation? Are you able to visit? Are you able to meet the child custody payments? Can you meet those? And how would you feel if your partner put your child at risk to get sick? What can we do to make everyone happy in the family and safe? Again, please leave your comments below. Hi, the small clip you saw was brought to you by Loyal World News. If you like what you saw, you should subscribe and look up my daily Loyal World News report for its full version. If you don't want to watch it on YouTube, prefer to be on the road, I also have a podcast in every full-length video I put up. And thank you for joining me today on Loyal World Info. Another day of the global spinning, another day of global news to digest. I offer a sane, rational voice for an insane, rational time. I will be your host, but first, let me share a little bit about me. I look forward to waking up to the international news like a child opening a Christmas present. I never know how I will act or activities I will do until after I unwrap my present. In the news case, what will I learn? What will it cause me to think about? What will I reflect back on? And what will I share with others? Stay with me and let's open presents together. Now, let's get into today's topics.